Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne. And today I'm trying to illustrate places that I have been, but only in my dreams. So places that don't exist, but that I was able to see very visually in my dreams. So I started off by trying to remember all of them and all the details I could write down, as well as little sketches of the scenes I remember. The first illustration I'm going to try to make is from a dream I had recently about this stark gray shipyard that was on the side of a rocky cliff. So the first thing I wanted to do was collect a bunch of references. I don't consider myself naturally gifted at almost any part of the drawing process, but especially not environments and stuff. So I really wanted to help myself by collecting a good amount of references that could help me sort of render these things a little better. I'm basically trying to just make concept art that looks like what I saw. And yeah, it was really difficult, especially to find the boat. The boat that I saw in my dreams was so ridiculously enormous, and it was a very odd shape. As I was trying to look up boats, I couldn't really figure out what to search for. The one that I saw in my dream was all metal, and it was hugely, it had almost no detail on it. It didn't have windows or anything other than a single door. And it was just it was so enormous with no defining features. It was almost like a flat wall of steel. So I couldn't really find a boat that exactly looked like what I was looking for. But with a handful of references for every element and boats that look kind of close, I then started trying to sketch out my my original thumbnail that I had sort of tried to summon from thinking really hard about what I had seen. And then I tried to start incorporating some of the references as well. My first biggest concern was just trying to capture the light and the color correctly, because that really controls how the mood of the illustration kind of looks. And then I got really confused about how this little shack toll house thing and ramp were attached from the cliff to the boat. I couldn't remember in my dream what it looked like. I mean, most of the time I was in a POV, so I was seeing it from the cliffside, so I actually didn't know how it connected to the water underneath and everything, so that was a bit tricky. I thought about briefly doing more of a POV shot, but then I felt like it would have more overlap with the video that I've already done, which is I made illustrations that were based on more of the feeling of nightmares that I had, really extreme nightmares that I'd had. So if you want to check out that video, there should be a card to it up in the corner. But yeah, that one was not as literal. There was even a time where I was saying that someone in the dream's eyes were pitch black, and then I made their eyes bright pink in the actual illustration, because I was trying to create more of the sense of anxiety that I felt in the dream rather than literally what it looked like. Whereas this is very much I'm trying to show you guys exactly what I saw. I don't know if you guys have super vivid dreams like this, where there's a lot of detail and the settings are really, really complicated. I remember just feeling, I felt cold, and I could feel how windy and I don't know if you've ever been out to the ocean on a really cold gray kind of day. It was very striking. And of course it was a scary dream. I was in some sort of Squid Game style killing game inside this building, and I had just barely managed to stagger out. And inside it was all modern, and there was all these bright colorful lights. But then the second I stepped out onto the cliff, it was everything was just this slate gray color, and it was just so cold and stark and severe looking. So that was something that left a huge impact on me even when I woke up, and I didn't forget it. So I thought it would be really cool to try to draw. I struggled so much with this dang boat, because yeah, like I said in my dream, it was basically just this big iron wedge in the ocean, but that just doesn't look very good. It doesn't even really look like a boat when I actually drew it the way that I saw it. So I ended up having to add some little windows and things just so that it even read correctly. I resist the urge to add any kind of sails or anything, because it definitely didn't have any. It was just it was this giant pyramid head of a boat with almost no detail. And then yeah, I tried to capture the red bright light coming out from the inside of this blocky building that I was coming out of, and walking towards this guy who's sort of checking you into the boat for the next stage. Yeah, this is how it turned out. I'm relatively happy with it, but yeah, it's not exactly what I saw. It's pretty close though. Next up, I wanted to do a scene that was a lot more tight and claustrophobic since this previous one was so expansive. So I decided to choose a nightmare that had been so vivid that I actually could feel things in the dream. Like I felt the cold, packed dirt floor. This entire nightmare took place inside of like a root cellar. And I remember that the walls were like exposed, so you could just sort of see like wood planks, and that the ground was made of like this dark dirt that had been sort of packed down into quite a hard sort of floor. And I remember that there was like no food inside of it. There were shelves, like there should be like potatoes and that type of like dry goods, but there wasn't anything inside. And there was just like a door that locked, but that would be opened every once in a while, and it was a super scary dream. I remember I felt like I was never going to be able to escape and all this stuff, so it was very claustrophobic and very creepy. But I remember the inside of the like root cellar really, really clearly. It was just like slightly different colors of wood on the walls, and mostly I remember the floor because I swear I could feel it with like the palms of my hands. Have you guys ever had a dream where you can actually like feel something? It always throws me off so much, and it makes me feel like I can't tell if I'm dreaming or awake when I wake up first thing, whenever I have a dream like that, just because it's like it's a little too real. I don't know, let me know if that's something that happens to you, because it seems unusual. But anyway, I remember really clearly I could see the nails in the boards, and everything. It looked really like unfinished in there, and I remember it had like a really like sort of damp kind of sweet smell, kind of like mold-ish, the smell of I guess any kind of damp dark place, and obviously I can't really put the smell in, but I tried to capture like the darkness without completely like showing you just a black box. So it was obviously darker in the dream, but I tried to sort of capture that by showing like how bright it is outside the door, and also like sort of like making it fade out into nothing, because like it was like there was no way I was going to get through that door, and so I'm kind of making it appear like there's no outside whatsoever, to get that same feeling across. I think illustration can be a really powerful tool for like sharing a feeling, so hopefully you guys get some of that from these illustrations, even if they're a little messy and a little strange, because I mean, it is all dream logic, so there's only like fragments of things that make sense. I don't even remember being able to see past the door, and I didn't question it, of course, but I don't think anything was really there, like my brain hadn't loaded anything past the door. And I remember there being a wooden crate, so I threw that in at the last minute too. Next up is a scene that I remember really distinctly, just because it was something that I've always like wanted to experience in real life but never was able to. In the dream, I didn't feel scared or anything. I felt sort of neutral. It wasn't like pleasant either, but I basically ended up at the bottom of the ocean, I guess. It was some kind of major body of water, and I remember just like lying on my back on like the sand, and being able to look up through this like not gray, but like greenish, brackish kind of water, not like pure ocean water, but sort of a greenish hued water up at the light above. And I was like way deep down there, like at least 20 feet in this body of water. The sand around me was completely like clear of anything. There was no plants or rocks or anything. It was just like plain sand. And above me was like spiraling different creatures. They kind of looked like fish, or like ancient fish, I guess, like coelacanth or whatever they're called, that were thought to be extinct but then were rediscovered, and they were also kind of mixed in with like sort of mammal looking. They didn't look like real sea creatures. They were like very approximate, but I just remember like for some reason I was at the bottom of this water, just lying there and looking up. And it was like kind of relaxing and kind of scary at the same time. So I really wanted to capture that like surreal feeling of being down there. I was able to find an image of I believe it was a bog or something, and an image shot from underneath the water that almost had the exact colors that I remember seeing. So I picked out some of these lovely like mustard olive hues and sort of mixed them in. I definitely wanted to capture that feeling. The weird part is in the dream, like sometimes I was behind my own eyes and then other times I was looking down at myself. So I decided to take that image that I remember seeing, looking down at myself in the water, and I'm drawing it exactly as I saw it. This is actually very close to what I saw. So I had to make a water effect just to give it the full vibe of it. So first I did a bunch of these like squiggles to kind of look like the little waves, and then I made a black version and blurred it out really hard. I ended up feeling like just the shadow was better because like the way I remember it, I wasn't looking through the water. I was like, the camera was like in the water, if that makes sense. So the white part wouldn't be there. You just see the shadow of it. And this really started to capture the feeling a lot closer. For the fish, I tried to just keep them relatively obscure because I don't think I can really even capture what they looked like. I mean, it was kind of, again, that like dream logic where they were their qualities were shifting as I looked at them, so that's really hard to do in a still image. So I'm just trying to capture the shape. They were quite large, like probably bigger than like maybe like 6 feet long or something like that, like huge carp-like fish with also some like dolphin-like tendencies. I don't really know what that could possibly mean, but yeah, it was kind of relaxing. Honestly, I would love to lie on my back at the bottom of some sort of great body of water if I could do that without drowning. That would be awfully nice. And yeah, I mean, I kind of just went very like off the emotions of the feeling, but this one ended up being the most accurate to what I actually saw in the dream. So I hope you guys like this illustration, because yeah, this is basically exactly what it looked like to me. I put in a little extra details on the fish creatures, but not too much. A couple like little catfish whiskers and stuff. Yeah, so those were some illustrations inspired by things that I actually saw in my dreams. I don't know why I find it easier to come up with backgrounds and scenes and stuff when I'm asleep than I do when I'm awake. But regardless, thank you so much for watching till the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you to all of my wonderful patrons, including Winterheart, Harold Bird, T-Hill Music, Tack Afton, Teddy Spaghetti, Avant Grape, Dendro Was Stolen, Haley, First Spookable, Vegas, it's Jamal, Kay, Rodrigo, Mom Milk, Kadaria, Deadly Nightshade Art, Maria Vasquez, Astral Fox Art, Middle Z, Dulce Mori VT, Lilia Lura, The Expressive Poker Face, Marcy Axolotl, Tsubaki, Michael Lavalley, Cutie Pie, Rune Raincrow, Rainwater Pulse, Ice Cream Pal, Cola, Insadmia, Your Boy ST, JJ Jade, and of course, Lib 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 Lib.